Good morning, students. Hope you are doing well at this juncture, and let us hope this pandemic gets over as soon as possible, and we'll meet very soon in the class. And in this semester, I'm going to teach you the course called as Experimental Techniques in Physics, and the course code is, let me write, course code 233 of second year, third semester, third paper. And the name of the course is Experimental Techniques in Physics. Experimental Techniques in Physics. And this is abbreviated as ETP1. In the first semester, you are going to learn the experimental techniques in physics first, and in the second semester, you will learn the second course of this experimental techniques, isn't it? Now, let's go for the course syllabus, and in the complete course we are going to study 4 different modules, as you are aware with this. So let me write the first module. So module number 1 is the signal analysis and sensors. Your second module is module number 2 is a vacuum physics. And each module is of 1 credit, right? So second module is also of 1 credit. This is a credit based system, so it is also called as CBCS, choice based credit system of 2020 course. Fine. Module number 3 is vacuum techniques. Which is also of credit 1. And the fourth module number 4 is based on vacuum measurement and low temperature techniques. This is for credit 1. So these are the 4 different modules that we are going to study. Let me give you some more overview of each module. In the first module, we are going to study what is meant by signals and the classifications of signals, or the various types of the signal, and signal analysis. And along with this, you will be going to study what do you mean by sensors, what are the characteristics of sensors, and classification of sensors and types of sensors. So this is your first module. In second module, we have to study the vacuum physics. That means you will be going to study various kind of pumps. Fine. And so on in the next 2 modules. Now let us go and try to study the course structure. That means course structure is a 70-30, as you know all. 70-30. That means there will be a 70 marks university paper and 30 marks internal paper. So in 30 marks internal paper, 30 marks internal, we are going to take two internals of 50 marks. 50 marks first internal based on first two modules, and remaining 50 marks second internal. Fine, as we did in the last year for MMP. The same structure we are going to keep for this semester and this course also. Now let us go ahead and study the first module, and the name of the first module is sensor, module number 1. Let me write module 1, and the name of the first module is signal. Signal analysis. Signal analysis. And sensors. This is your first module. And let me write the subtopics. Those subtopics we are going to deal in the first module. So the very first that we have to study is what do you mean by signal. And the second topic that we have to study is a signal analysis, and we have to study this signal analysis in two domains, that is in time and in frequency domain. And in the signal we have to study what is meant by signal, its a definition, and the types and classifications of the signals. The third topic that we are going to deal in the first module is a measurement of a signal, or I can just say measurement and a result of measurement. The fourth topic that we have to study here is a error and its types of error, which we have already studied in earlier some standards like systematic error, random error, etc. and etc. And the fifth topic is sensor. And in sensors you are going to learn what are the characteristics of sensor, and various types of sensors. Fine. So let us start the first subtopic of the first module, that is the signal. And what do you mean by signal? You have been studying this word, or you have been listening this word since from your graduation, and this signal is exist everywhere, and you have been observing the various signals in day-to-day life, isn't it? So to understand what is meant by signal, let us take a function. Let's go mathematically first, and then we'll make its a definition. So let us say there are two kind of variables. Fine. Variables are of two types. First is dependent variable. and independent variables. And independent variables. Fine. And dependent and independent variables, how to identify, you are very well aware with these kind of variables. And while drawing the graphs or plotting a graph of various physical quantities, though we do not know which quantity must go on x-axis and y-axis, once the quantities are with you, you can easily plot a graph of these two physical quantities. So we know very well, if you want to plot a graph, let us say f of t is a kind of a function and is a one kind of a variable as well as a function, and the function which depends upon the variable is a t. And if you want to plot a graph of these two physical quantities, then you can plot this graph in this way. So out of these two quantity, which one is the dependent variable and independent variable? Out of these two, t is independent physical quantity which does not depend upon independent variable, I can say, or physical quantity, which does not depend upon any other physical quantity, whereas this f of t is a function of t, that means this function depends upon this variable. So I can say this is dependent variable. This is a dependent variable, and we know very well independent variable or independent quantity always goes on x-axis. So I should take the time variable on x-axis, whereas your y-axis quantity must be a function of a t in this way. Let me extend the graph on negative x-axis also, and if you extend this graph on negative x-axis, that will give you some interesting information. So this is my negative x-axis, isn't it? Let us say you are having a function f of t, and this f of t function or this graph is drawn in this way. This is a negative 4. So let us say this is a 2, this is 1, and this is negative 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Let us say this is positive 6 side, and your plotted graph is in this way. Got it? So let us say this is f of t is equals to 1 on y-axis. So this is a kind of a signal. This is of course a mathematical signal which we have plotted for f of t and t, but this signal gives you some information, and this information you can write in this way. The function f of t is equals to 1 in a particular time duration, and this has a value equals to 0 in a particular time duration. Now let us write that particular time duration. That's the important part of information which signals gives us, or which this plot gives us. So the function f of t has a value equals to 1 within this time period. That means if small t is greater than or equals to -4 and less than equals to 6, within this time the value of the given function f of t is equals to 1. This is one kind of signal that we got from the plot, and the second kind of a signal that you can draw from the graph is the value of the function f of t is equals to 0 in other ranges. So I can say otherwise the value of the function f of t is equals to 0. So this is called as a signal. Now let's make the definition of the signal. So the signal is nothing but, I can say, it is a function or it it is a physical quantity. Let us take some more examples so that you can adjust some more physical quantities into it. So let us take voltage. If the let us take voltage is depends upon time or on current, you can say, and if you plot these two graph, that will give you some information. That information is also a signal. Or if you plot a graph of current and time, that will give you some information. That means it is also a signal. But this current, voltage are acting as a physical quantities, and hence you can say signal is nothing but a function, or it is a physical quantity which carries an information. Fine, this is called as a signal, isn't it? So let's go ahead and try to study now the various types of signals and classification of a signal. Classification of a signal. Types of signal, modes of signal, or I can say classification. Types or modes of signal. As we have defined a signal, signals are of various kinds, and the very basic signals that we have studied are analog signal and digital signals. And you are knowing very well, digital signals are exist in terms of 0 and 1. So let me write analog signal, and digital signal. Let us take this example and try to understand what are analog signals and digital signals. So let's go first for analog signals. Let's try to study comparatively so that you can understand both kind of signals very well. So to understand analog signals, let me take an example of a sine wave. So this is an example of a sine wave, as it varies with time, and on y-axis you are having an amplitude. So let us say this is an amplitude axis. And what do you mean by amplitude? Amplitude is nothing but it is a maximum displacement of a particular physical quantity or a particle from its mean position is called as an amplitude. So this is an amplitude. So the sine wave is an analog signal. Similarly, you can take another example of a cos wave. So this is a cos wave, and I can draw the cos wave in this way, and which varies with time. So this is one more example of an analog signal. And what is the important point that you can point out in the analog signal? These analog signals are continuous signals. These are not discrete signals. So I can say analog signals are continuous signals which varies continuously with respect to some other physical quantity is analog signal, whereas digital signals are the signals which are not continuous, rather those are discrete signals. And let me take its example. The example of this digital signal is a square wave. Which also varies with time, and here you can see amplitude of the wave, and the square wave looks like in this way. Fine. And the signal is in terms of zeros and one, in terms of binary numbers. Fine. So digital signals are not a continuous signals, rather these are discrete signals, or those varies discretely is called as a digital signal. Fine. Now let us try to go for more details. So there are some more kind of signals, and the next type of, so let me take an example of the next kind of a signal. Let us suppose you are, and to measure this kind of a signal you need some sensing device. And what kind of sensing device is required to measure the signals or to identify the signals? The device that we are going to use to sense the signal is called as sensing device or sensing element. That has a particular name, and the name of that sensing element is a transducer. What is this transducer? You have been studying the transducers, and so you are knowing this definition of a transducer. This transducer is nothing but it's a device, I can say a device which converts one form of energy into another form is a transducer. What are the examples of transducer? You can take an example of a transducer is the thermocouple, thermistor. Fine. What is this thermistor? Thermistor is a device which measures a temperature. Temperature is a physical quantity, and it gives a conversion of a temperature into another physical quantity, current, and hence it is a transducer which gives a conversion of thermal energy into electrical energy. In the same way your thermistor works. So thermistor is another example of a transducer. So there are various kind of examples of a transducer. Fine. So we need a transducer as well as a sensors also. Now what do you mean by sensors? Sensor is a sensing device which sense a change in a various physical quantity surrounding to it. It's called as a sensor. And sensor sense a change in physical quantities and gives information to another device. That is called as a sensor. So I can say sensor is an information provider. Fine. So for sensors I can say, let us say this is a sensor which sense a kind of a physical quantity. So it receives an input by its surrounding, sense the physical quantity and give this information to an analysis unit. This analysis unit may be your electrical circuit also. So I can say this is an electrical circuit, and the best example of analysis unit is oscilloscope. And I am quite sure you have studied this analysis unit oscilloscope in your UG and in the first year also. So, and this is an electrical signal which a sensor passes to the analysis unit, and once the analysis is done, then you can draw your result. So this is the work of this sensor which we need for the further discussion, and let us study some more kind of signals. And the next kind of signals are the dynamic signal and the static signals. So let me take an example of dynamic signal and static signal. Let me draw the graph first for the dynamic signal. Suppose this is a time varying function, fine, and your signal varies in this way. This is a zigzag variation. This is also a kind of a signal which is a zigzag but continuous still. This is a continuous signal and it's a dynamic at some places, so I can say it's a kind of a signal. This is a signal and it shows a variation at a particular time, so this is called as a dynamic signal. But there are some kind of signals which varies with time, but the variation is not dynamic. The signals may be in this way, constant. If the signal is a constant, then this is also a kind of a signal. So I can say this is a signal, but this signal is a constant. It's not varying with time. It's not varying with independent variable, and therefore this kind of signal is called as a static signal. This is a static signal. Hope you have understood these two kind of signals also. And the next kind of a signal is stationary signal and non-stationary signals. And there are two more subtypes of stationary and non-stationary signals. So I can say stationary signal, and non-stationary signal, non-stationary signals. Stationary signals are of two types. The first type of stationary signal is a periodic stationary signal, and the second is a random stationary signal, whereas the non-stationary signals are an impact signal and a random signal. So these are the two types of stationary and non-stationary signals. Let me give an example of a stationary signal. And to understand what is meant by stationary signal, let's take the help of again a plot of two variables, two physical quantity, dependent and independent variables. So let us say this is a time variable which is independent quantity, and here is some function which depends upon time t. And let us draw a signal. Let us say your signal is in this way. It is showing a steadiness for a particular time, and after that the function shows a variation into it, and again it goes on steady state and shows some variation on it. Again it goes on steady state and gives you a variation. Fine. And if you observe the variation of the signal for a particular time block, this is a time block. From this time to this time, it's a time block. The time block is approximately same for all the three cases, and being this signal a constant, I mean there is a variation in the signal, but the variation of the signal is a stationary. That's not much variation in the signal. So this particular time block, the signal is varying, but that varying signal is a periodic. So this kind of a signal this is an example of a stationary signal, and of course it's a periodic signal because the variation in the particular signal is varying periodically. And let's take this example. The example of this kind of signal is vibratory signal, vibratory signal, vibratory signal, vibratory signals. And the best example of vibratory signal is a sewing machine. Sewing machine. And if you observe the movement of the needle of the sewing machine, then you will come to know the sewing machine gives you its needle vibrations in a particular time block, and the variation of the needle is a periodic, because that needle gives you the vibration in a particular time. So after that particular time, the needle shows a repetition into its vibration. And we know periodic motion or periodic signals are nothing but signals which repeats after equal interval of time, and the needle of the sewing machine shows you the repetition in its vibrations or its movement after equal interval of time. So that's why sewing machine is a very good example of this vibratory signal, which is also an example of a stationary signal. Fine. Now what do you mean by this is random signals? The second example, or I can just say a random signal, the example of the random signal is a raindrop on the roof of house is a kind of a random signal. We don't know when the raindrop is going to drop on your roof. So this is an example of a random signal, and these stationary signals are continuous, whereas these non-stationary signals are not continuous. If the signal, I can say, if signals are not continuous, then these kind of signals are called as non-stationary signals. Non-stationary signals. Got it? So there are three kind of signals or modes of signals, types of signals that we have studied. The first one is digital signal and analog signal. And analog signal is a continuous signal, whereas the digital signals are discrete signals which are exist in terms of 0 and 1 binary numbers. And the examples of analog signals, we have studied the sine wave or cos wave, which varies in a particular time period, and not necessarily it should vary in a particular time period. There may not be a time period. The variation of signal may be a zigzag, but if the signal is a continuous, then that signal is called as an analog signal, isn't it? And the next kind of signal that we have studied is, what is the second type that we have studied? The second kind of signal that we have studied is a dynamic signal and a static signal. And in case of dynamic signal, the signal is called as a dynamic signal if the signal gives you a abrupt variation with respect to an independent variable. That is called as a dynamic signal, whereas the static signal is a signal which doesn't give you any abrupt or random variation in it, or the signal is a constant with respect to a time variable, then that is called as a static variable. And after that, the last kind of a signal is a stationary signal and non-stationary signals that we have studied. And the stationary signals are the signal where the signal remains steady, but for a particular time block it gives you a variation, but the variation of the signal is not too much. It's a very small variation in the signal. So this kind of signal is called as a stationary signals. Hope I think we have understood the topic of a signal, and let's go for a signal analysis now. And this signal analysis is done in two kind of domains. One is a time domain and frequency domain. So let me explain these two. So the second topic is a signal analysis. Signal analysis, and the signal analysis is done in two domain, time domain and frequency domain. I think we'll study this topic in the next video, because time is, we are running out of time now, so let's stop here.